Hey guys, Chappie here. Sunday evening, getting ready to watch the Steelers here in a little bit, but want to jump on here and talk about the Mountaineers. As a lot of you know, I went home this weekend. First time going back to Morgantown to see a football game. I think in the Neal Brown area. I don't think I've been there since Neal Brown's been the coach. Um, Thought we had a pretty good team at the beginning of this year. I mean, we certainly have more talent than we've had in quite some time, maybe since the Will Greer days here with Dana. But was walked into this game thinking, we were going to jump back. Tough loss last weekend against Iowa State at home at night. Second night game in a row. This week against K State. Second game night game in a row against ranked team. Um, Homecoming this weekend. Expected a lot of really good things going home. Was met with quite the opposite. Almost I'll go back. Um, Monday, Tuesday last week, looking through, the reels and whatnot, and see this post about Neil Brown's post game conference. Um, Basically talking about his thoughts on the on the disappointment of the game from the week, from last week. Um, Kind of made a fatal flaw a little bit when he made mention of, I mean, winning's not everything. I think the students had probably had a pretty good experience, had a good time. They came out. It was a beautiful day, great day of football. We competed. I think we're here to have a good time was that's the hook, line, and sinker that I think is going to sink Neil Brown's boat. So fast forward to this week, come in and it is not the atmosphere I expected. Walk into the blue lot, which if you guys don't know WVU, that's where the majority of the tailgating goes on there for the games on Saturdays. Very flat. Um, there's Fire Neil Brown blimps flying around the stadium. I probably heard a couple hundred times we're here to have fun in a very sarcastic manner. Um, the energy sucked. Just it felt like the people that were there weren't excited for the game or expected a win or any of those things, right? So just not a great pregame situation. Whereas in previous experiences going home, it was a very electric environment. Kids were not just kids, fans were sincerely excited for the game and enthusiastic and proud of their team, quite honestly. I felt none of that, like from the very beginning yesterday. Um, it felt like everybody was just kind of going through the motions, fans, players involved, both. Um, and then the game started. So before the game started, though, again, homecoming, second night game in a row against a ranked team, expecting to see a crowd fired up, excited to be there, anticipating a win. I saw none of those things. I saw a defeated team. I saw a team that um, felt a lot of pressure, and I feel like they weren't prepared to live up to that pressure. I don't think it's the players' fault. Hell, I don't even know that it's Neil Brown's fault. But the point of this, whatever reel, is that Neil Brown's tenure at WVU is officially on the clock. He cannot continue on as the coach of this program. Ben is basically based off of it ended with what he said last weekend at this press conference. The frustration of Neil Brown has been there among the Mountaineer fan base for a few years now. The clamors get louder and louder every week at this point. With the talent that he has in house, with the recruiting that he has brought in, there's no excuse for us to be um, at the level that we're at competitively. I'll say this frankly, we stink at home. As soon as there's an interception, as soon as there's a missed tackle. As soon like the crowd is on the kids, they're on Neil Brown, they're on the entire program almost instantaneously. So, darn well if football that brings enough pressure as it is. As soon as a kid makes a mistake, he knows he's going to get booed. Guess what? That pressure skyrockets up, and then a mistake's going to happen. We did that time and time again yesterday. Not taking credit away from Kansas State. They are methodical. They are a really good team. Um, they just knew they didn't have to make a mistake, and that game would be theirs, and that's exactly what happened. And it got to the point where, I mean, we weren't trying most of the second half. The crowd left after halftime, and most of them left mentally well before that. So, I'll say this positive. The light shows and the new lights that they have there are awesome. The facility's beautiful. The upgrades that they've done to that campus, if you will, it's amazing. I would imagine that a lot of players would want to play there and coaches wouldn't want to coach there. Um, but what they have going on right now is a cancerous situation. Neil Brown, if I'm Ren Baker, would be fired today. And it's not because I'm this big Neil Brown hater. I'm not. Actually, I'm not at all. But fact of the matter is when fans aren't happy, when players know they're defeated, and the other team knows it coming in, it's you can't win in that situation. So every day that you continue to keep Neil Brown as your head coach, every day that you continue to pretend that there's nothing wrong is a day further away from getting it fixed. Now, who is the replacement is the $1 million question, right? Of course, everybody's going to talk about, the crazy crazies are going to say Nick Saban. That's never going to happen. Then you're going to have people talk about Jimbo Fisher. Do you really think Jimbo Fisher, who is a Clarksburg native, right? He's from the state, is going to come and coach at 60 whatever years old in this program after everything that he's done? I don't. I think that's a long shot. People are going to talk about the Florida coach, Dan Mullen. I don't think that's realistic. I wouldn't see a scenario where that might happen. So you take those three guys and say they don't work out. Say they don't work out. Say none of those. Saban's not really an option. It's really Jimbo and Mullen, right? Who's the next candidate? And people are going to talk about the guy from Liberty. And my response to that is, aren't we really just regurgitating Neil Brown at that point? Isn't that the same thing as what we're doing, going out and getting a Troy coach? How quickly is he going to turn it around? And what talent pool is he going to have to draw from? Right. So I don't think that's a great decision. One thing, talking last night that I feel like is something that must be talked about. Pat McAfee has to get involved. His NIL money, his pull in the both the college and professional ranks at this point, he has to get someone who is going to do a good job there, right? So I'm looking at Patty Mac, um, my boy Pat, to come in here and kind of pull some strings to get us someone who in here who's going to turn this around quickly because this is a sad state that's going on in Morgantown. This is a traditional top 25 program. And right now they look more like a non-power five team than a conference contender, let alone national contender. So again, I just wanted to jump on here and talk about these things. Chappie, indie sports guy, give me like a follow if you like what I'm talking about. I want to do this more and more often about a number of different things, any of the sports that I really like. Maybe jump on here and do some betting every now and then. But if you can give me like and a follow, that'd be excellent. I'm gonna try and get on here later on this week, talk about IU a little bit. So, all right, guys, thanks.